Welcome back to the Football Tragedy. Aaron here by Morty, a happy man today, I could imagine. How are you feeling today?
We're a goal short. That was a perfect double, but it's all right. I think we sufficed.
Look, we can imagine why Tony's not on the pod today. Probably suffering big time after that heavy defeat. Campo probably the same, to be honest, because, we're going to get straight into it with that first game, as it reads there. Spurs 0, Brighton 1. Morty, talk us through the game. Where did it go wrong for a Spurs team who was supposed to be back and on the up and hitting top four?
They pulled a Spurs. I'll be real. We were sitting there watching that game. Obviously Campo had some money on the game. Didn't turn out at all. And yeah, I don't know what to say because they have been in quite good form, and I wasn't going to sit there and say that they're going to do shocking, but that was almost like the start of the season. Tottenham, they were off the pace. They're trying to do their one play, ball over the top, and Brighton just defended it perfectly. They just did not care, and I don't know. And then they found a way to put one away, and it was all over. Yeah. And we'll get into the rest of the games, but it was just the start of the calamities. You can't even blame the early kickoff because the whole weekend was confused. So,
yeah. Well, look, they do say never back the early kickoff. Campo's not taking that advice. Like you said, it's just Spurs being Spurs, isn't it? The usual bottle from them. It's You come to expect it. They were 4 wins in the trot. As we said in the previous pods, Conte's got them playing good football. They're using their strength well. They know Kane can just play that ball over the top to some of them. It works, but it didn't work against Brighton. They defended brilliantly. The way the game was going, Brighton getting that last-minute winner was always going to happen. You could just see it happening from a mile away, and it just completely derailed Spurs' top four chances that weekend. They had a really good chance, as you said, going into other results later to stamp their mark on that on that fourth spot. Hasn't happened. But yeah, that top four race is blown wide open, and no team really wants it by the looks of it because, we'll get into this game, but we do have to get into one a bit later. It's the United v Norwich. So obviously we know Ronaldo bagged a hattie, the hero again for United. Looked good. Got him in touching distance of top four, but then obviously we'll get into the game later that happened this morning. But this game as a whole, how was it? Ronaldo just being the hero once again for United?
Pretty much. The whole back line was just shambles, and we talk about the game this morning as well. They had to change that up again, and nothing seems to work for him. And Ronaldo, yes, saved him, but again, this is Norwich. They have signed players coming through. They've got the talent. We've heard rumours come out that Pogba's going to get this big payout to keep in the Premier League. We saw Maguire fucking studs up in his face. I almost don't. Ten Hag's apparently deal done. He just doesn't want to come out till he's done what he has to do with Ajax, and I don't know where United are going to go forward because they're going to have all these players on contract. They can't sell them all, but I don't know what they turn to because the players that they've paid to be in form aren't in form. Ronaldo can't do that again. We've seen throughout the year that he isn't the Ronaldo of old, and I think his age is kind of showing. He's got the natural. It's not natural ability. But he's got the ability to do it, but he can't do it through the rigors of the Premier League, and they're going to need to reshape that whole squad. And I think the more worrying sign was the 2 goals conceded against Norwich, which should not be happening. But we move on, and it fell apart again.
Time and time again, they're relying on a 37-year-old Ronaldo who, look, on his day, can be the best player in the world. It's just that. It's that simple. He's a clutch player. But if you're versus Norwich, the fact that you're winning only 3-2, you're conceding 2 goals, you are relying on a free kick from Ronaldo that should have been saved. in the 70-something minute, it's just not good enough. And had they have dropped any points here, absolute disaster. But I still think a 3-2 win just sugarcoats them, really, doesn't it? Because they're 3 points off top four, but they've obviously played the most games out of them, and it's just not good enough. And again, the result this morning just shows the fact that they are so far off top, even top four. They're so far off the top teams right now, and it's just, I mean, it's just not good enough. And like you said there, Ten Hag's reportedly a done deal, but that's not happening until next year. Can they play in the Conference League this year? Can they get Europa League if they're lucky? Can they get Champions League? Probably not. Like, it's a massive rebuild. They're so far off the pace right now. It's just absolutely not good enough. And I mean, Ronaldo, will he even stay next year? We don't know. But yeah, against Norwich, still, in my opinion, not an amazing result. I mean, I think, what is it? United have conceded more goals than Burnley, and Burnley is sitting in 18th spot. So it's not good enough. All right, let's get into this game. This is a relegation scrap fest. Watford's narrow 2-1 defeat to Brentford. I don't know if you saw the ending to this game, but Watford missed just basically a clear-cut goal, a one-on-one. I think it hits the post, rebounded out to some guy, misses an absolute sitter, and then Brentford got the other end and score. I think that's Watford down, in my opinion. Just the fact, how can you're so close to getting that winner, puts you, thereabouts, still fighting relegation, obviously, but thereabouts safe. And then bam, they go and concede up the other end, and that, in my opinion, would just put them down. So not good enough. I think it gets Brentford safe, and Brentford, for all the slack we've given them, I definitely have in the last few weeks. They've now won 3 on the trot, and I mean, guaranteed safety now, in my opinion. So, you probably didn't see this game, but what did you make of the result?
I didn't see much of this game, but I did see the last end of it. But I think Brentford, they pretty much secured them staying up. That they're happy thing. Watford, I sat here with Tony last week, and we're fairly certain they were going down. And this done them no favours. Even a draw here or a win, it wouldn't have changed much, considering they had that far off the pace. They're just Everton, the closest thing going for them. They still got 2 games in hand, and they're not gonna. They're just not. I think it's done. I think that bottom 3 now is done. That's where it's staying.
No, I'm in agreement with you. I mean, we all know Everton's run-in's disgustingly bad, but they got a result against United. They're going to get 3 points somewhere. You just know what's going to happen, and 3 points will be enough because Burnley's not getting many more points. I don't think. Watford, and probably in the same boat. So I think I'm in agreement with you. I think the bottom 3, how it is now, will go down. Burnley sacked Sean Dyche, and it's probably still not going to work in their favour. Just don't know where that's come from. Almost 10 years in the Prem with it. 10 years at the helm with them, and just no thank you, really. Just there's the door. But let's look at this game now. It's Southampton 1 over Arsenal. I mean, we spoke about Spurs bottling it, but how about Arsenal? They had a perfect chance, looking at the Spurs result 2 hours earlier, to go and push back into that 4th spot, and they go and produce that. What did you make of it?
This was their chance. They'd thrown up some dodgy performances. Spurs were in form. Regardless of whatever happened in the Spurs game, they had to take this one. Southampton were in terrible form.
Yep.
They've done nothing.
Well, they shipped 6 to Chelsea. What was the week before or 2 weeks before?
This should not have happened. Like, even a draw here is shocking for Arsenal. The fact they lost is just peak London stuff. So all of you, or you all seem to do it.
Don't put Chelsea in the same category as those North London clubs. But what is it? Because we all talk Arsenal so much at the beginning of the season because they were disgusting. They're playing like that right now. They can't get a result to save their life. They got into top 4. They were looking good. 4th was theirs if they really wanted it. And then they lost to Palace, Brighton, and now Southampton, 3 on the trot. I mean, again, they're only 3 points off 4th spot with a game in hand. They win that and they're there. But let's be real. Who wants 4th spot? Nobody at this point, because Arsenal, as good as it is, that's all they need, 3 points. But they're not playing football. They're not playing football to win games. They've got Chelsea coming up. They've got a lot of hard teams coming up. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but they've got a few hard teams, I think, this next month. It's just, I don't know. Do you think they're going to get top 4? What's your pick right now? Who's getting it? Can West Ham even? We'll throw them in the mix. Who wants it?
Looking at their runs, they've all got some big boys. Like Tottenham have got Leicester, Pool, Arsenal. Arsenal have got Chelsea, West Ham, Tottenham, and United. But yeah, I guess you can throw them in. And then United have also got Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham, Chelsea, Arsenal, City, Brighton.
So, looking at those, they're all playing each other, which is interesting because that will again be massive for the top 4 race because they've all got they're 6 pointers really at the end of the day, aren't they? Even 9 pointers because you look at who's playing who takes points off who.
West Ham have got enough games against them that they could scrap in, and yeah, I mean if West Ham end up going out in the next round of Europa, they'll go, yeah, no worries, guns blazing, win those last 3 games, and they're in with a shot because everyone else has to lose points somewhere. They're not all guaranteed to be points. So
there's definitely not a team there that I want to get 4th because I don't want to see Spurs or Arsenal get it. United, I mean, it'd be funny because of how bad they've been this season. I don't want West Ham to really either. I mean, good on them if they do get it, but I don't think they will. I think they're a little bit off it. But yeah, looking at those run-ins, I don't actually have a clue who is going to get it. I think Spurs should steady that ship a little bit more. I think Arsenal's situation, they've got no goal scorer. I think Spurs still, yes, they lost that game, but they're probably still thereabouts. Conte's probably the best manager out of the lot and should be able to kind of sort it out enough to get that 4th spot. But that'll be an interesting run-in. I want to look at a team here who is safe now, in my opinion, again. Newcastle 2-1, last-minute winner over Leicester. It's enough to keep them in the Premier League, isn't it?
That's been the story of their second half of the season. They've just turned a corner. They made a few signings, and obviously one of their key signings showed up this game. And yeah, they're looking promising. And the worst part is the only way is up for them. So that's where we're getting to. And I mean, City have come out. I'm sure we'll get to it, but they've come out and apparently offered the table for Haaland, and they're going to strengthen. And you're just worrying that there's only a few less players that they're going to sign now, and that top tier player is diminishing, and they're going to get one. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Newcastle's an interesting one because yes, they spend a lot of money, but you can't take any credit away from what Eddie Howe's done there. I think in 2022 they're like 3rd or 2nd on the form ladder in terms of like points collected. So credit to him. He's steadied the ship. He's rescued them from what could have been sinking. They could have been going down, even with all the money they spent. And
all the money they spent, they still spent less than what United did on Sancho. Almost. Like you put it in perspective, like probably not even, but relatively speaking, with their wages included, they haven't spent much more.
If you want to look at it that way, that's for sure. But yeah, they're in the Premier League for another year, and like you said, they can only go up now, can't they? They're gonna sign players. It's inevitable. They're gonna strengthen big because why wouldn't you want to go there? They're back in the Prem. You mean if someone's throwing you 150k, 200k, whatever they want to offer you for a player who probably doesn't deserve that much, you're going to take it. So credit to them. Leicester, again, a very, very poor season for them. They're still in the Conference League. They went through semi-finals. If they win that, I don't know if that's even considered a successful season. I think it'd be their first European trophy, but it's the Conference League. I don't know how much we can praise them for it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, Premier League is more important, I think, to a team like that. Maybe it's not. European glory might be the way, but 9th for them currently could slip as low as 13th, 14th if they don't keep it going.
Well, I think that they're one of those clubs that are in trouble. I mean, they've held on to Vardy. Nothing against him. He's carried that club for many years, but he's the aging, and there are few shining lights of signings. I think Tielemans is not re-signing, so that's money wasted. They're going through players. There's not much more coming through. They haven't really been able to do what they did before.
Well, you'd say they're 3 best players who I think Tielemans goes for sure, like you said. James Maddison, will he stay? I don't know. Maybe someone comes in for him, maybe United, who knows. and then Wesley Fofana at the back. He's going, I think, somewhere. United could do with him. Someone could do with him. Arsenal, whoever. That's the three best. Yeah, exactly. Newcastle, they throw the check at him. Why wouldn't he go? So that's their three best players. They potentially lose them. Brendan Rodgers, we don't know what's happening with him. You might finally get that prediction right. It should happen because I don't think he's been great. And then, yeah, they're at risk of, falling back down. I know they won a Premier League however many years ago, but they can't live off that forever, can they?
No, well, it's been 8 years now, 7 years.
Time flies.
It's a quick moving world, and next year it'll be 8. It's almost going to be 10 years through, and they're just I don't know. What they're going through.
We're going to jump back into that top 4 race. It's just going up and down. But it's West Ham. Is this 3 points dropped, or 2 points dropped? Sorry, against Burnley, 1-1 draw.
See, this is the more realistic result now because you get into the end of the season where I go, you know what, Burnley will probably shithouse some points, or those teams like if Norwich managed to pull out of United, you go, well, they're playing for their lives almost. But I think that's a more reasonable expectation than losing to Brighton or losing to Southampton, who are safe. There's no chance of them going up or down anywhere. It just shouldn't happen. But West Ham, got bigger things to fry, and they came off, I think, two pretty close back-to-back games, and then, I'm content with that result for them. There's not much more. They beat Lyon, so
yeah, they're coming off the back of a massive semi-final win in the Europa League, and again, Europa League, Conference League, I don't know how they stack up, but West Ham, they're going to want to do well in Europe, just like Leicester, I suppose, but they battered Lyon. Was it in Lyon? I'm pretty sure as well. So, that's a massive result for them. So I think they're probably on a high there. Come up against a Burnley who now has no Sean Dyche, just got the sack before the game. Apparently, was it Ben Mee that was part of the coaching staff for this game, even though he's still a player?
Apparently, I don't know. I was reading things. It's all different things coming out. Apparently, the interim is the under-23s coach. I don't know. I just don't know.
Like you said, it's a more expected result because Burnley still are fighting for something, whereas Norwich, they shouldn't have been. They're not really. West Ham, they're up and down. But you'd probably look at it and say it is 2 points drop for West Ham because they would have definitely welcomed Burnley and thought we can get 3 points here. But look, they're still in a decent position. I still think I think for them, Europa League, somehow if they can win the Europa League, would be a great season. I think that's massive for them. They get Champions League from there. I mean, it would just be the perfect season for them, the pinnacle of it. Whereas Leicester, for them winning Conference Leagues, not as big as, say, getting top 4, in my opinion. So West Ham, they slipped up a little bit, but I think they'll bounce back and they'll finish the season pretty strong, but still may fall short, in my opinion. All right, that's that weekend done. We get into the main result, probably the biggest talking point of this episode, which is why I'm glad you're here. Wish Tony was, but he's not. It reads Liverpool 4-0 over United. Like you said at the beginning of the show, is absolutely battered them. You nearly got 10 goals across 2 games. 5-0 was it at Old Trafford, and then 4-0 at Anfield. Talk us through it, Morty. Tell us your feelings.
Look, at no point we could have sat here and said that United have a chance of winning because Liverpool have everything to play for. We were throwing everything at this game, making sure we win. But you'd think United would be able to go, we cannot concede that many goals again. If they lost 1-0, they can turn a page and go, you know what, we move on. Wasn't that? But to lose 4-0, like that's 9 goals across 2 games. Like we're not. It's not back to back or anything like that. But I mean, that's 6 goals shipped against Norwich and Liverpool. Like, it's a very expensive backline. They threw 5 at the back. They opened up in 7 minutes or whatever it was, and they continued to get open. They fell apart again, and they at no point did they just. I don't know who's in charge of the dressing room, but I don't know what goes like. How do you walk back into that dressing room and then you just look at Maguire and you're like, he's our cat. Like, I'd walk out. I'm not even paid to be there. And like, these blokes have to rock up, cop their name. They get dragged through the media. Like Fernandez looks like a kid without his dummy in the middle of the pitch. Like he gave up. Like he's just star signing. At least try.
Yeah.
Like you've got kids barking at your heels that would sell anything to get a go this game. and try, but just because things aren't going your way, he's just throwing a little spat in the middle. Ronaldo not there. I didn't expect him to be there. I don't think anyone really would be playing after what happened. And they look like a bunch of teenagers. They just threw it in the bin and just gave up. De Gea was screaming at the ref after the goal. Like, what part of that screams this is a great football club? It looked like Sunday League football, and they've just been shithoused to goal. Like, there's no acknowledgement there.
Yeah, so much is going wrong for United right now. Ralph was supposed to come in and, again, steady this ship, and he's done no such thing. He was put on this pedestal by managers everywhere around the world, the media, everybody saying he's this philosopher of football, really. And he's coming and he's not really changed much, has he? They'd be in the exact same position if Ole was still there. Who knows? They might be better off. You don't actually know. The players obviously weren't playing for Ole, but they're not now playing for Ralph either. Yeah. Your club captain Maguire is putting in dire performances week in, week out. He's positioning for most of the goals again today. Terrible. I don't want to talk too much about him, but he's just not good enough. He's not the club captain. Again, you can't expect Ronaldo to play, but he was not going to fix this. Like you said, at no point were United going to win this game. Even leading up to it, there was no chance. But yeah, had they have lost 1-0, even 2-0, but with some fight, respectable. Understand it at Anfield against a Liverpool team who are top of the league now. Let's be real. But no, it was lack of effort. I think Paul Scholes said it perfectly in the post game. He was like, "There's just no effort there. They don't look like they want to play. They seem like the last thing they want to do right now is be on the football pitch." It's
just shocking to see, because at no point has Liverpool been a perfect squad for the past 20 years of me watching it. I've seen some shocking lineups we put out, but not once have I sat there and gone, those players don't even want to be there. We've lost games to Stoke. We've lost games shockingly, but the first thing I wasn't going to sit there and go, they didn't want to play today.
Yeah,
that United team just did not look like they want to be there.
When you speak about the biggest rivalries around the world, I mean, this is one of them for sure. Manchester United versus Liverpool, like it could be the biggest. You could argue it, but what's the point? This year and the last few years, you've just battered them. Like, you look at the two results here and you think, how on earth is this a football rivalry? They're so far off you guys. It's not funny. I mean, they're so far off a lot of teams right now. It's not funny.
They band-aided for a few years. Like, they came out, parked the bus, and did whatever they could to stop us scoring. And fair enough, they did. I think they won one game in the past 5 years. And if that's what they needed to do, that's what they needed to do. But this year, it's like they just don't even care. Like, they weren't even going to go for a draw. It's like, well, we're not winning, so we're just going to lose badly.
But yeah, there's no sugarcoating it this year. Like, they've shipped 9 goals to you guys in 2 games. Salah's had their number all. What was it, 5 goals?
5 goals.
Yeah, and yeah, it puts you guys tops. It's a great performance from you guys, because I guess so easily you could have slipped up, because it is a derby at the end of the day. But it didn't feel like a derby for you guys, did it? It just felt like a routine performance against a Burnley, a Leeds, someone who you have been taking the piss out of.
Put it this way: if we played Burnley today, it would have been 1-0.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what
there have been games recently that you've struggled to score a few goals. I mean, you look at your Watford 2-0. They put up a fight. Brighton 2-0 put up a fight. West Ham, but
Norwich scored against us. Norwich,
yeah,
in 2 games, their $1 billion attack hasn't scored against us. Like, it can be done. Like, at no point, we haven't kept clean sheets in any competition for the past month and a half now, except for United.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, look, Salah and all your other strikers and whoever, the whole team would have been licking their lips at this game, because, I mean, yeah, it was never going to be the football rival. Like, it was never going to be the derby that everybody thought it would be. You didn't think it was going to be close. It was just it was a matter of how many years you're going to win by. And yeah, look, for you guys, amazing result. Puts you top of the table. You've been phenomenal. I don't even know how many, it's one win because you drew recently, but you haven't lost in a while in the Prem, clearly. 2 losses in the whole season. you've pipped City currently. They've got a game in hand, which we'll get into, but right now it's all looking good for Liverpool.
Yep. I just gotta
Right.
wait until they lose now. That's the
But
problem.
United somehow aren't still out of it. They're not. Reality is they're not. They're not in the driver's seat for top four. But if they somehow turn it around, if Ronaldo saves them multiple times again, then they're still in with the fight. But I don't see it happening. I don't think Tony would be saying much different to what we're saying now because he wouldn't be defending him at all. Let's move into the games tomorrow morning. Just quickly rattle off Chelsea v Arsenal. We're back to pretty decent form. Our only real loss, was obviously we lost against Brentford pretty badly, but then we went and put 6 past Southampton. Also, the good result, poor result against Real Madrid, but the fight was there. We come up against an Arsenal team who've lost around the trot. They come into the bridge. Can they cause an upset?
Probably. That'd be Arsenal. To go and lose all those points and then come up against Chelsea and take a win.
Yeah,
that's. I think that's one of the most frustrating points of supporting Arsenal is the fact that their squad will do that. They will put up a fight like tooth and nail this game. May not win, but it'll be damn close. Yeah, they'll go and lose before. So,
well, I'll look at the game we had against them at the beginning of the season where we beat them 2-0, and it was just routine, and it was much like your Liverpool versus United, where one team's just clearly in another league compared to the other one, and that's the way I'm going to tip it. I think Chelsea's going to run over them again 2-0, comfortable, because Arsenal aren't looking good. They can't score goals. They'll probably bite me. I'll probably clip that if they don't go, trounce us 3-0, somehow Lacazette scores a hat-trick. But I just think it's going to be a routine performance, 2-0. Timo Werner's looking good. Mason Mount will probably do some magic again because he's been in great form. What's your prediction?
I think Chelsea get it done. I'm going to say 2-0. But I'll fully expect Arsenal to be up for it.
They should be, more so than United were for Liverpool.
Yeah. So,
all right. How about this one? Newcastle versus Palace. I mean, we speak about Newcastle being safe. They can actually jump Palace here. Palace is supposed to be having this amazing season under Patrick Vieira, but they can jump them now into 13th if they win this game. Which way do you have it going?
I think Newcastle will get it done again. They're looking to get the cogs right. They're still testing the waters, finding out what they need to sign, who they need to sign, and they're playing well. Like, can't fault them at this point. And Palace, they're having a good season, and I think they can sit there and look at it and go, yeah, we have had a good season because they've been in every game. Like, the argument for Palace has always been they show up and they go, oh, yeah, we beat Chelsea this year, and they've lost the next 14 games.
Yeah.
And the sort of thing. They haven't been blown off the park. They haven't not shown up. They've always been there, thereabouts. We always sit there and go, what if? What if? Every game they play, there's always a what if this happened. They could have done that.
Yeah.
So I think they're still having a better season, and they're looking like they're improving. And next year, some signings will help them. Whereas every other year, it's where's Zaha going?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. They're building a very competitive squad, more so than that. The one that, beats because they beat City the last few years. They beat City at the Etihad, and they go and lose most games. So the table doesn't reflect on their season. I think they could well and truly have finished top half. Doesn't look like they're going to be, but it's still a great season for them. They've had a couple loanees come in, like Conor Gallagher, obviously, who's killed it. Don't think he'll be with them next year. Think he'll come back, but they can
money or.
Hey?
Does anyone actually own you currently?
But I mean, they can be happy with their season. I think they can just see out the season with a couple more wins, sit around there, and then build again with Patrick Vieira for next year. But I think they're going to get a draw here out of this game. I think that's going to be good enough for a draw. But now we move into it's not the biggest game because Chelsea Arsenal, but for your sake, probably the biggest game: Man City versus Brighton. Like I said, you guys are top of the table right now, but they can obviously jump you again with this result. Is it going to be routine for City? Are they going to be hungry for it, given they know the result of your game already, or will Brighton make them work for it?
Well,
I feel like you have a head and a heart here.
See, even my head's saying that something can happen because the way they played against us in the FA Cup, they were not interested. Like the second half, I think Mahrez he came on as the game changer because before that they just were not clicking. Fernandinho was looking to take off legs and heads more than he was looking to take the ball. fair enough, whatever it may be. But it seemed like their attitude was they're not playing football. I think Pep overthought things again, and yeah, like I don't know who's still injured from City. Mahrez, he can start, but I think arguably he's better off the bench. When he starts, he just looks complacent. I think coming off the bench, he actually looks hungry because he's like, "Why am I getting benched?"
Yeah,
so that's about the one thing Pep does get right is sitting him on the bench. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Brighton defensively, they're pretty solid. They research well. They defend per team. They're not just defending how they want to defend. And
Yep.
could be tight.
Yep.
A draw is on the cards here, like a 1-1 draw. They're just anything can happen at this point of the season, and it's getting very hard to predict anything.
I can see a close game for sure. For some reason, this reminds me of City versus Leicester a few years ago when Company scored that phenomenal winner. I can just see someone stepping up and being the hero for City. So I do think it's going to finish 1-0. I don't know who's going to score the goal, but it's going to be a very, very close game. But I can 100% see it going either way. Like in terms of a draw could definitely be on the cards because, against you guys, they look really bad, horrible, in fact. And they should have been 3-0. Shouldn't have been 3-2. So
we fell asleep. We were like, well, if they're not going to play, we don't need to play. And that's what happened.
But yeah, I think a very, very close game on the cards. We'll get into the final game, which it's Burnley v Southampton. How do we even cover it? Southampton coming off a win. Burnley coming off an average draw, but no Sean Dyche at the helm. Which way do you see it going?
Screw it. Burnley get the win. Take an absolute piss out of Southampton. Somehow.
Yeah,
he hasn't scored in a while. He'll come there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Burnley as well, just purely for the fact that when a new manager or an interim or something, the team always wins at some point in their helm, you'd think. And Southampton, they've been up and down this year, so I could fully see them dropping points here. And Burnley I suppose for Burnley, this is massive because it would then put the pressure on Everton again. So they need this result, whereas Southampton probably don't need it that much. But anyway, that's the pod wrapped up because there were some big games there. We'll be back either tomorrow or the next day for the Match Week 34 preview. Hopefully we'll have a full squad or at least a few more. So thanks for joining me, Morty, and we'll see you again soon.